Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Dr. Gaurav Khan Shankadar from Department of Mathematics and Computer Science from the School of Basic Science in Babu Banasidas University. Today I am going to take up input and output functions in Java. Now for the introduction purpose, I must tell you that data stored in a text file is represented in human readable form. Data stored in a binary file is represented in binary form. There are basically two types of files. One is the text file and the other is the binary file. A text file is composed of characters, and the unit by which the data is stored is known as is through characters, and that is a text file in which characters are placed. And the other type of file is the binary file, which is represented in binary form. Like any file other than text file is a binary file. Okay, like sound file or a video file. Okay, so binary files cannot be read. They are designed to be read by programs. You cannot read a binary file. Okay, you designed a binary file through some software, you cannot read it. You have to read it through well-designed programs. For example, Java source programs are stored in text files and can be read by a text editor. If there is a text file, then you can read it through a text editor. But Java classes are stored in binary files and are read by the Java virtual machine. So the Java source programs that we type in of the .java extension are read by any text editor because it is a text file. But the Java classes are stored in binary files, okay, in the form of libraries. So they are read by the Java virtual machine, that is a program. We cannot read data out of a binary file because it is stored in the form of bytes. So we should have a proper program to read that file, a binary file. The advantages of a binary file is that they are more efficient to process than text files. In text files, we can just store characters or strings. Okay, we cannot store. Suppose if we want to store a record of 200 students, then we can write the record in the form of text files. But if we are making a class known as student and all the properties and essential functions or methods and the variables are supplied into it, then we have to read it through the JVM or Java program that reads the binary file, which is a collection of various objects of type student. That object is created by the instantiation of the class known as student in our case. So those objects will be stored in Java file, and we cannot read them through text editors. Okay, we can read that file comprising of objects of students through program designed by us. Okay, and the advantage of binary files is that they are more efficient to process than text files. In text files, a record of the textual data comprising of 200 students can be stored, but the fetching of the records it is very difficult. Okay, so in binary files we can extract student by student, but in the case of text file we will read the data one character at a time. It will be very tedious for us to do. Now you can imagine a text file as consisting of a sequence of characters and a binary file consisting of sequence of bits. As this slide, as you can see, it is having introduction, continued, and all this data written over here. This is a text file. Okay, why? Because we are just storing the characters in the form of strings. But what about binary files? Binary files are read and written with the help of bytes or bits. Okay. So for example, the decimal integer 199 is stored as the sequence of 3 characters 199. Okay, but in case of if we store this data in a binary file that we stored in suppose through a short or an int, okay, then we can read the whole int at a time or a whole short integer at a time. But in case of a text file, it will be stored as 199. Okay. So what is written over here is that, for example, the decimal integer 199 is stored as a sequence of 3 characters 199 in a text file, and the same integer stored as a byte type value C7 in a binary file. Okay. Now this is a hexadecimal notation, as you can see. Now how is input output handled in Java? To perform input output, you need to create objects using appropriate Java input output classes. When you want to print something in Java, as I have dealt with a few times about a statement like system.out.println. That is this println is an output function. Whatever we write inside the println function or the print function is output to the console. That is our display on the monitor. Okay, but sometimes we can read and write data from files residing on the hard disk or in any associated memory, like a CD or a floppy. We can do that. Okay, the object contain the method for reading and writing data from or to a file. There are many input-output classes for various purposes. These can be classified as input classes and output classes. Okay, input classes are those classes that take input, or what we can say they read. Input is also used interchangeably with read in case of IO, input output. Okay, so whenever we are doing input, that means we are reading data from some file. Okay, and whenever we are doing output, that means we are writing data on some device. It can be a console device, that is a device that is your monitor display, or the data can be redirected to another file residing. Suppose f out is a file and we are writing this data to that file, so that becomes the output of the file, output to the file. Okay, so these can be classified as input classes and output classes. All the classes that help us in Java, all the classes that help us in taking information or reading information are grouped inside input classes, and all the functions or methods in Java that are used to store or show in the output or write something are grouped inside output classes. An input class contains the methods to read data, and an output class contains the methods to write data. Now, what are major types of file input-output? Computers do not differentiate binary files and text files. All files are stored in binary format. Actually, text files are also stored in the form of binary format. Why? As you can see, this computers do not differentiate. This the slide that is open in front of us. Suppose we want to store this data as a text file. What will we do? We will store COMPUT character by character. The whole file is stored in the as a text file. But exactly it is stored in the form of its ASCII counterpart. Okay, so C will be converted to ASCII format, and then that it will be a digit. Okay, it will be a digit, in fact a decimal number, an integer number, ASCII number. That number will be stored. In the case of O, its binary equivalent or its ASCII value is stored. Okay, so it is stored in the form of ASCII values. So that is also a binary file if we look deeper into it. But for the time being, we will say that the data in which the characters as the text is stored are known as text files, and any other file except text file is a binary file. But you should understand that text files are indirectly binary files. Okay, why? Because the binary data is always stored in a computer. No text is stored ever. So, what are text files? Text files are a sequence of characters which are easy for reading, modifying, and writing a text file using a text editor. A text editor, for example, Notepad or Notepad Plus or WordPad. Then what are binary files? Binary files are a sequence of bits. That data items consists of usually 8-bit bytes. Okay, it depends upon architecture to architecture, but practically each and every system has 1 byte equal to 8 bits. There's no confusion regarding it. More compact and binary files are more compact and they are more efficient. Why they are more efficient? Because they are read byte by byte, not character by character, and we can read multiple bytes as well. Okay, an integer takes, if we consider the binary files, and suppose we are storing an integer. In text file, whatever we store is in the form of character. In text file, it's totally meaningless to say that we are going to store an integer. A data type, whenever there is a talk of a data type, that means that it has to be stored as a binary file. Okay, we cannot store integer or a float or a double in a text file. We can only store characters. But in case of binary files, we can store in the form of data types, like integer, float, double. What happens is, suppose I am just going to store a single integer of 4 bytes having a value of 40. Then it will store 40 in the binary form in the binary file, and whenever I'll read it by an integer. So whenever I read, the whole 4 bytes are read at once. So that's why it is more efficient. And text input output versus binary input output, most of the points you've already taken up, but let's revise that. Text input output is built upon binary input output to provide a level of abstraction for character encoding and decoding. That is, text input output is by default obviously built upon binary input output, because all text files are also binary files, and since the computer reads only in the form of binary data, therefore all files are binary files, but text files are built upon binary files. That is, a level of abstraction is achieved using text files. So it becomes easier to distinguish between binary files, every file other than text file. You can deal with text files and we can deal with binary files. So encoding and decoding automatically performed for text input output. The JVM converts a Unicode to a file-specific encoding when writing a character, and converts a file-specific encoding to a Unicode when reading a character. Okay, I was talking about ASCII code. In C, we use ASCII code, but in Java, as Java supports Unicode. Okay, ASCII codes are only a byte long, whereas Unicode characters are much more longer. So ASCII codes only had a few, all the English characters and the numbers from 0 to 9 and all many special symbols, but the Unicode character set is a very big set which comprises of nearly all languages. Okay, it is a very big character set. JVM supports Unicode. Okay. Now binary input output. Binary input output does not require conversion. We don't have to convert anything. If you are writing a numeric value to a file, to a binary input output, then the exact value is copied to the file. When you read a byte, that will read. Suppose you have stored an integer, you will read an integer in the same as the same process you have written it. Then in general, use text input to read a file created by a text reader or a text output program, and use binary input to read a file created by a Java binary output program. Binary input output is more efficient than text. I have already taken this up, like, because binary input output does not require encoding and decoding. Okay, in case of text file, you have to encode it first into a text, and then it is converted to a binary. Okay, then this decoding and encoding goes hand in hand with each conversion or each time we read or write text data. And in case of binary, files are independent of the encoding scheme on the host machine and thus are portable. Java programs on any machine can read a binary file created by a Java program. Now this will be very beneficial for you. Looking at the diagram, as you can see, there is a clear separation between the text input output and binary input output program. When we talk about text input output program, okay, then what we do is, as you can see in this diagram, like in case of text input output, the text input output program text Unicode of the character is 199. Okay, so it will be converted into binary and then it will be stored. But in case of a binary input output, what will happen is there is no encoding decoding, because it is able to read the data type. So a byte is read or written. Okay, so 199 will be converted to 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1. Okay, here the encoding and decoding is taking place, but in this case we cannot. We are not enough. We don't need any encoding and decoding in case of binary input output program. That's why it is faster. Now input output classes are listed in java.io package. Okay, what is a package? A package is a combination, is a constitutes of other packages and classes. Okay, so the input output classes in Java are contained in the java.io package. For Java 5.0, the scanner class can be used for text input. Okay, this scanner class can be used for text input, which can take input from the user through the keyboard. And the text files known as character streams input output use 16-bit Unicode characters, making them platform independent. Use reader and writer classes and the subclasses. Okay, in case of text files, we need to use reader and writer classes. We'll come across them. And in case of binary, what we do, we use input stream and output stream classes and the subclasses. Okay, so there is a clear distinction between the classes that are used for reading and writing information in a text file and a binary file. Now relevant Java input output classes, as you can see, there is a class known as file. Okay. Now what does this file object do? As you can see, the code written over here, that file in file is an object of type file is equal to new file sample.txt. Locate the file in the current directory. Okay. This will locate the file in the current, whatever current directory you are having. Okay, it will find for sample.txt and specify the, if you need to specify an absolute path, we can also do that, like file in file is equal to new file C Java program sample.txt. So this is having the whole the full path in the hard drive, and so we can make an object of type file and it will point to a file resident on the disk. Now what are the classes? There is a file class. File class encapsulates the properties of a file or path and does not contain methods to read, writing data to or from a file. What does it do? It just encapsulates the properties of a file. Okay, we can use this object with other function argument as other function arguments to do that. Okay, then there is a file reader class that is convenient. That is a convenient class for reading character files. File reader and buffered reader reads text from a character input stream. And what are the methods? One method is read line. It will read one line at a time that is written in a file from which we are doing input. Then there is a read function that reads a single character, and whenever, so you can very easily grasp that what we can do for reading a whole file. We can either use the read line function in a for loop, or we can use a read function in a for loop until the EOF is equal to -1. EOF means end of file. This flag is set. This is a special character which is set to be -1 when the file ends. Okay, at the end of the file we have -1, so we can loop until we find EOF is equal to -1, so the whole file will be read. Okay, and we can keep displaying whatever we want to do in that program we can do. So close input stream. This will close the input stream. Now there is a class as you can see, file reader, and what it can do, it can read a file. Okay, file reader fr is equal to new file reader, and we in the arguments we can pass the local path or a fixed or a physical path that is the absolute path inside it. But what we have done over here is that price.txt file is kept in the same folder in which we are making the .java file. Okay, so public class buffered reader, this is also a file that is used for character input stream. It will read text from character input stream and then buffering characters so as to provide for the efficient reading of characters, that is arrays and lines. The buffer size may be specified or the default size may be used. It is better that if you use the default size. Then the buffered reader, what does it do? The buffered reader object is used by in fact the file reader, here what we have done is that we have generated a function on the fly. That is, we are first of all we have generated a constructor on the fly. That is, the object is creating at the runtime without, this is known as a temporary object. Okay, new file reader data file.in. What will this do? This will make a temporary object of file reader class, and it will provide a data file.in, that is the path of the or the name of the file. And this will create an object that is a temporary object, and it will be passed as an argument to the buffered reader constructor, and this in file will then point to the data file.in. Okay, this code will buffer the input from the specified file, and without buffering, each invocation of read or read line could cause bytes to be read from the file, then converted into characters and returned. That is inefficient. Okay, what it is doing is that this code will buffer the input from the specified file. Okay, without buffering, each invocation of read or read line could cause bytes to be read from the file. Okay, what happens is when we use buffering, then it becomes faster for us to read anything from a file, because without using buffering you are directly taking up the read or read line, and it is coming the data is coming directly from the file, so it can, so there may be times that you're not able to extract some data due to some reason. In case of buffering, it is more or less it is filled inside the buffer, so the reading is efficient. And in case of not using the buffering, it is inefficient. Okay, now how can we open a file? Okay, make a file or a file reader input. You can there is one thing that is worth mentioning over here, is that you can use these functions and classes at your own disposal, and there are some things that are redundant that you can do from one class or the other class. The same thing can be done. And in that case, suppose we want to open a file that we can use, then we can use file and file reader both. Okay, it is better if we use file reader, because it will open the file in the read mode. Then file reader file RDR is equal to new file reader data file.in. Okay, so this handle of the file or the object of the file RDR will point to the file data file.in at the start of the character. Now what we can do is that we can pass this file reader object inside the constructor of the buffered reader. Okay, then the buffered reader in file is equal to new buffered reader file RDR. So in file will now point to the buffered input from the file pointed by file RDR, that is data file.in. Now read the contents of the file, convert input strings into numerical format, and close the file. Okay, whatever you want to do with that file. Some easy example is that you can display this value on the data or on the display. So after that you can close that file. Okay, now how to read a file. This is a program that shows how can we read a file. Okay, now first of all you should have file reader fr is equal to new file reader prices.txt, then buffered reader br, and in the constructor of buffered reader we will pass fr, that is the object of the file reader. Okay, then as we know already that it consists of 3 lines, then the program can also be, the loop can also be written as 0 to less than 3, and there is a string data type variable or object in line that will read the line. So the first read line will return the first line. So br.readLine will return fruits rm10.00, and then it will position the pointer to the next line. Okay, and as I told you that you can output this information directly to the console or the display. So what we are doing is that we are reading the line from the file and we are putting it inside the inline string variable, and then we are printing this variable on the screen. So this will be repeated again and again up till 3 times, and the data will be displayed to the console. Okay, now another example that could have been done. In this case the limitation is that we already know that there are 3 lines. Suppose we are unable to know in fact in advance that how many lines are there in a file, which is the case in majority of which is under majority of the cases. So what will happen over here is we don't know the number of lines. So we can do is, this program shows like that. There's a file reader fr which will point to the file. Then there will be a buffered reader, and it will take as input as its constructor's argument of a file reader object, that is fr. Then I told you that read line method returns the line, the whole string comprising of the line. Okay, and it will move it to the next line up till it becomes null. Okay, so what we have to do is that the string line is equal to br.readLine, and this will read the first line. Okay, then if that line is not null, then I will display that thing to the monitor or display, and then I'll again move the pointer to the next line, that is br.readLine. Line is equal to br.readLine. So this line will contain the next line, that is the second line in our example. If that is not null, it is also displayed. So this loop will go on and on until we find the last line that is already printed, and then we'll close. One thing is very important. Whenever you make a stream, or whenever you make an object of input or output classes, then always close them, because if you do not close them, that they remain open, and the other problem is that the data doesn't get saved. Okay. Now what is the scanner class? Well, the scanner class is used to take input from the console, that is the keyboard, and it is used quite often, and it is inside the java.util package. It is a simple text scanner which can parse primitive types and strings using regular expressions. A scanner breaks its input into tokens using delimiter pattern, which by default matches white space characters, blanks, and non-printable characters like line and tab, new line and tab. The resulting tokens may then be converted into values of different types using various next methods. Okay, it is very simple to use. I am telling you how. First of all, the default whitespace delimiter used by the scanner is recognized by character.isWhitespace. It returns true. And what are the methods that I use in a scanner? HasNext. Okay, HasNext is a very useful function or a method that is used with the scanner class and returns true if the scanner has another token in its input. Okay, and HasNext wrapper returns true if the scanner has another token of type wrapper. Here what is done is they have used generics. Okay, a wrapper are the classes that are made reference type and which are actually there are the data types which are by value. Okay, the value data types, those that are stored on the stack, those data types are converted by the wrapper into wrapper classes into their equivalent reference types. Like int is converted to capital integer, float is converted to capital float, and so on. So all the value data types, or we can say, that are stored on the stack, it was a demand in Java that some pre-designed functions or some functions or methods used only reference data type as their argument. So we cannot pass primitive data types inside the arguments. Okay, so for that compatibility, the value data types or the primitive data types are converted to their equivalent wrapper classes. Okay, and like HasNextInt. Okay. Okay. So let us see what are the various functions and how they are used in the scanner class. Like HasNext will return true if the scanner has another token in its input, and HasNextInt will wait for another input by the user, and that input has to be integer. Okay, so whenever we are asking for the user to enter some integer, we will do what? We will use the function HasNextInt. Okay, and and we can also close this using the close method. Now methods used in, as I told you, next will find the next complete token, next wrapper will find the next complete token, and of type wrapper, for example, next int. In this example, as you can see, that first of all we have imported IO and util. Okay, we have imported IO because we are using the file class, and we have imported util because we are using the scanner class. So what we are doing is, first of all, in the main method, this class is file input. Inside the main method, what I am doing is I am keeping the whole code in try catch block. Okay, I have not told you what is a try catch block. This is in fact a strategy that is used by, for exception handling. I'll take this topic in our later lectures, but for now just think that whatever inside try is going to be executed without error. Okay, file reader is equal to new file. Okay, you are passing a file inside it. Then scanner in is equal to new scanner reader. Okay, this scanner class is taking as a constructor an object of file type, that is reader is passed inside it. Then string name is equal to null. First of all, we have taken name to be null and float score and total to be 0. While in dot next has next line. Okay, then name will contain the next string. Okay, whenever name is dot next is used, it will return the string. Score will take the next float value. Okay, total will be total plus equals to score. That is, total is going to be incremented by score each time this loop executes. And then system.out.println name and score, these values are printed. Okay, so what it is doing, what actually this data.txt file is containing, it is a binary file first of all, and then it is having some data, like it is having name, it is having score, and then these two types, and these two types are distributed in many rows. Okay, there are many rows containing data like name score. Okay, so name is a string, we know, so we can extract that string using the object of type scanner. That is, int.next will return the first string, that is the name. Then score.int.next float will return the next float value and will stored inside score. And total plus equals to is equal to score, that is total will be incremented by the value of score. It will keep the sum of all the scores and then it will be printed. Okay, and when this loop finishes, it prints the total, that is the total score. Okay, so this is the usage of a scanner class with the file class. Okay, thank you very much, and thanks for watching my video, and meet you in the next lecture.